up, guys? Welcome to the Rush Outrospective. My name is Rush, and I'm your host. You know, for most cancer survivors, the hardest part of the cancer journey is surviving life after treatment. Many doctors will tell them they should return to their lives and put the experience of cancer behind them, but going through treatment fundamentally changes a cancer patient forever, and it's impossible to go back to the life they knew before. For Leia Hunt, retinoblastoma eye cancer was her metamorphosis to the person she is today. So it's with my great pleasure to introduce Leia Hunt, the founder of Leias Kids Foundation.
Yes. Well, Rush, thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited and so honored to be here today with you.
I'm excited for you to be here too. I see a lot of your amazing work in the community. Let me start off by saying this. I know it's very difficult to have these kind of interviews because, you know, talking about cancer is a very serious topic. It's one of those traumatic experiences you don't want somebody to relive. But I know that you've practiced, you've done the work, and you've gone through your journey. And part of your blessing to your community is sharing your story. So why don't we start off by you sharing a little bit about your journey through childhood cancer?
Right. So my journey really begins when I was a very young child at the age of 2, and I was diagnosed with the rare form of eye cancer, retinoblastoma. And I did treatment for a year, and then I relapsed at the age of 3, and we started treatment again. And so my treatment consisted of about 5 rounds of chemotherapy, radiation, 26 surgeries, and the final was doing a radioactive isotope on my left eye because my cancer was in my left eye. And that killed the cancer cells, but with that took the complete vision of my left eye. So from a very young age, as you can see, cancer has played a pivotal role in my life. It really has been with me as I've grown up, so have I grown up in the cancer community. So it definitely has been something that I've carried around with me. Yeah. Yeah,
you know, one of the things I mentioned in the introduction was, you know, the hardest part is life after, after experiencing that, going through the journey. It's after the treatment. Am I right about that?
Yes, you're 100% right. And something that I always love to talk about is, going through cancer is its own battle. It's its own journey and its own cross that we carry. But it's the life after cancer, when you're in remission, when you're home and the doors are closed and now you're fighting alone. You're not in the hospital. You don't have your doctors and nurses. You don't have people come visiting you as you're getting chemotherapy. It's you trying to understand something that can be so crippling and so confusing, especially as a young child,
right.
Not really completely having full understanding. So I would say yes, and I know I can speak on behalf of so many other cancer survivors that the journey after treatment is a whole new playing field. You have symptoms, you have things that come up, you have, you change as a person, you view life differently, but then also your body reacts a lot differently, maybe to medication or smells or sounds, anything that can trigger a thought or a surgery or whatever that may be through childhood cancer.
Right. Well, before sitting down and talking with you, I actually did a lot of research on cancer patients, different types of cancer, breast cancer, you name it, lung cancer, all these things. And one of the compelling things that I saw online was two women having an interview each other. One was diagnosed with breast cancer. The other one was in remission, and they were interviewing each other.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
oh man, I bet that was a great one.
It was fantastic. So one of the things that one of them mentioned was that the obstacles that she had to face after treatment, and one of the issues she mentioned was about friends not wanting to come around because they were afraid they didn't know if they could handle what someone's going through. Is that something that you experienced as well?
Right. I would say my journey for after cancer really affected me in the school system just because, again, I was an elementary child, growing up. And I would say for me, my hardest thing was, we all have, our struggle, but for me, I wore my struggle on my face since it was eye cancer, and that can stem from wearing an eye patch, wearing glasses at a very young age. But my left eye drifts, and I have a cataract that gives me a white glaze look over my left eye, and it kind of, as you can tell, it kind of does its own thing here and there. And so when you're 10 years old and you're walking through the school hallways, that kind of can lead to some things. So there was that part of the journey, but then also you have to think of the rigorous treatment that all kids are put through for cancer. You got chemo, you got radiation, whatever that may be, that directly impacts your brain growth.
Right.
And for me, that impacted me in school. It made school very, very hard. But there's also something called chemo brain that we use in the cancer community.
Okay.
And it's almost like your brain is very fuzzy, and you can't really connect the dots. And so for me, school was very hard. It still is. I'm still in college, and we kind of just take it class by class to get through it. But for me, that is really where it stemmed from. But then also not really quite understanding why my peers weren't going to the hospital and why other kids didn't have cancer in their life. I would say that, just overall, just growing up with it and not knowing another kid. For me, I didn't meet another kid outside of the hospital when going through childhood cancer until I was 18 years old.
Wow.
So that's a long gap to go and be in life basically without knowing somebody else who you could talk to about it.
Right.
And we all need a community, and so I'm so glad now that with Leia's Kids I've met so many kiddos. But yes, definitely.
All right, guys, this is just a brief word from our sponsors. This video series is sponsored by American Coffee and Tea. American Coffee and Tea is located at the corner of Stonebrook Parkway and the North Dallas Tollway, right next to the Shell Station in Frisco, Texas. Guys, if you pride yourself in supporting local businesses, and you pride yourself in being patriotic and believe in capitalism and believe in the opportunity to forge your own pathway in your business and in life, then stop by American Coffee and Tea and support them. The staff is fantastic. They're friendly and hospitable, and you just get a sense of community and I would say harmony when you go in there. Guys, American Coffee and Tea. Today I'm drinking the cold brew. It's very good and tasty. It's robust. I love it. So make sure you stop by there when you get a chance in Frisco, Texas. This is a question I have. I ask people who've gone through some kind of either physical trauma or any other type of trauma. Is which do you think plays if you had to reassess the whole situation growing up like that? Was the hardest part the physical part, the treatments, or was it the emotional part of the experience?
Right. I think from looking at it from my perspective now as a growing adult, that in life, mental challenges are a lot harder than physical challenges.
Okay.
So with my cancer, I definitely had a lot of physical challenges, with having one eye, you have migraines daily, and that still is something that, you go through. And then there's a very long list of different things and symptoms that have come up in my life. But I can tell you, if you're mentally in the right spot and you mentally know what you can and cannot do and where your body is at, that's a whole different realm than physical. Because physical, at least for me, I'm able to look at it, push through it, know what I need, know what I can and cannot do well. But mental, if you're not in the best spot, then physically you're not going to be in the best spot.
Right. I guess that leads me to my next question. How much do you think hope and faith played in your remission?
So getting to remission, as of course, comes from the genius people that have created different medicines and programs that help us get through childhood cancer, but then also God's grace played a great role into my life. And so while I'm in remission, it was that faith of knowing that, I didn't get cancer because I was bad. This isn't because someone in my family sinned and God is mad at me. No, that's not why I got cancer. But through my faith, I was able to take this cross, take this cancer diagnosis, and be like, hey, I know that God has an important mission for my life. He saved me. I'm here for a reason. I was given this cross, and I'm going to carry it because I know there's other kids out there who need that hope, who need that inspiration. And I'm just so lucky to be the one to help them.
That's awesome. I think that talks to the metamorphosis of how this experience has kind of you've kind of transcended. Something came out of that you've redefined your experience here on earth, right?
Right, yeah, definitely.
So tell me about the courage and confidence you found inside of you because of the journey that makes you want to live big, bold, and intentional every day, like you are today.
Well, I think as individuals, the greatest thing that we can do on this earth is love one another. And whether that's in small deeds or that's in big deeds. And so kind of growing up, I had to step back in my life and make a decision. Am I going to let cancer negatively affect my life?
Yeah.
Or am I going to let cancer to be something beautiful and be a pillar of hope in my life? And so I chose the route of seeing cancer that can become something good, because it is scary and it's dirty and it really sucks, especially for kiddos to be sick like that. It sucks. But by me changing my perspective and choosing to see the good, because I think it all stems back from the power of our choices that we have, and choosing to see the good set me on a path to want to live this mission out, to be confident. And, that also stems from my family's relationships with me. I come from a very close-knit family, and they have supported me. When I get picked on in elementary school and things just weren't going my way, like my older brother and sister would always pick me up and put me back together and help me fight day in and day out. And I think that is something that has formed me into how I live today.
That's awesome. Okay, so next question, which leads me to your parents, since you mentioned them, right?
Yes.
I know your parents will likely be watching this later.
yeah, I sent in our group chats. I say, here's an interview to watch, please.
Yeah. So speak to what you've learned about your mother and father that amazes you the most, because y'all have this lived experience together.
Definitely having a shared experience with your family and your parents in general definitely brings relief from a burden in my life.
Yeah.
But I really have seen how truly amazing my parents are, and how truly amazing that they will fight for their kids, all 5 of us. And, they have been such a strong role model in my life, but then also it's a blessing to go through cancer with my parents. Because, as a kiddo, mom and dad has to come to the hospital,
Right.
But my parents get it.
Yeah.
Like, they saw me work so hard in school and still not be able to make the grade. But my parents got it. They knew what was going on. My teachers, they didn't quite get it, but mom and dad were able to get it. And I think that in itself is a gift for mom and dad to know and to be there.
That is so fantastic. That's a great word. They're going to be like, oh my God, they're probably going to cry when they watch this.
At one point, so with retinoblastoma diagnosis,
Yeah.
what they would have the child do is get an enucleation of the eye right away. So that's the removal of the eye. And so my doctors actually wanted to remove my left eye right away. And so my dad, the military man he told the doctors that he wanted me to keep my eye for as long as possible until it was too dangerous to still keep the eye.
Right.
And so I was one of the first kids in the United States to keep my eye while going through treatment and not having it removed right away. And now, because of my dad sticking his neck out there and, voicing his opinion, that is now the treatment for kids going through retinoblastoma, is that they do not have to have removal of the eye right away. They can go through treatment, because no matter what, you still would have to.
Yeah. Speak to retinoblastoma a little bit. I know it's a very rare cancer that people get. I was reading somewhere it was like 20,000 people get it a year. Is that right?
Yes, so it is definitely a very rare cancer. And then something also about retinoblastoma is that you can have it almost 2 versions, you can kind of say. It's one eye or 2 eyes, so unilateral or bilateral. And when you have it in both of your eyes, you actually have a higher % chance of passing it down to your kiddos. So it's kind of like a side story with Leias Kids. We actually donated to twin sisters that just turned 4 years old, and they also had retinoblastoma. And it was so much fun because we actually have the same doctor. And so we both get treated at Will's Eye Hospital by Dr. Carol Shields in Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania. And their mother had cancer also.
Oh, wow.
And she passed it down to her kids.
Oh, wow.
At the exact same cancer.
So speaking of Leia's Kids, talk to me about your foundation, what things you have working, what's exciting. I know I've watched some stuff online and everything that you're posting on your social media. Talk to us about that.
Wow, okay, Leia's Kids, man, I just love it so much. So the mission of Leia's Kids is to directly donate to families going through childhood cancer. And how we do that is we host huge parties for the kiddos, and we call this a Crown a Kid event.
Okay.
And so at this party, the family receives a $1,000 donation on behalf of Leia's Kids Foundation, but also a message of hope and a party to celebrate, to honor, to be there for the kiddo, to be there for the family in their battle with cancer, to encourage them, to love on them. And so each party is so much fun. So like I was saying, the twins, we did a princess tea party and pony rides for them.
Okay.
We had a little boy who wants to be a police officer, and so we lined the roads with 9 different police stations, and they came out and cheered him on, and we teamed up with local businesses. And so each party meets the kids' theme,
Okay.
but also I share my story. My family comes out. We kind of talk about what helped us, how we
that's so
can
cool.
help them,
Yeah.
and then they have the donation. And the Crown a Kid theme all stems from James 1:12, which talks about we all have a cross we carry, but while we carry our cross, we will get our crown and eternal glory. And that's the theme of Leia's Kids, is all royalty, that your cancer can turn into your life's mission.
That is beautiful. I love that. Seriously. So if someone wants to be nominated, is that right, for Leia's Kids?
Yes.
How do they go about doing that?
So actually, you can head over right to our website, leiaskids.org, and we have a nomination form, and you can fill it out. It's super simple, and we will get your contact information, and then we'll get in contact with you and start working towards planning a party and your donation. And so we actually crown kids in all states. So if you're either in California, if you're in Texas, if you're in Minnesota, wherever you are at, we will come to you. We will host this party for you, and we will give you a donation, and just such a fun day.
Awesome. I got a couple more questions. This next question is, has it become easier to grow as a person because you've already been forced out of your comfort zone by this deadly disease?
Well, I think growing as a person really stems from my family and my faith.
Okay.
And I think having cancer play a role in both of those aspects of my life definitely has pushed me, and definitely outside my comfort zone, people making comments or seeing my eye or being that different kiddo in the school.
Yeah.
So that definitely has pushed me. But while it has pushed me, my family and my faith were able to form me and how I've lived that message out.
That's awesome. What's your proudest moment, proudest achievement with Leia's Kids Foundation right now, would you say?
Wow, okay.
So it's on the spot question.
My proudest achievement, I think, would be able to sit with these kiddos and to see them smile, and to sit with these parents and be able to be like, hey, it's going to be okay, and I want to be here for you, and I want to walk this journey with you. And so those are some of the moments in your life where you really step back and you look at life a lot differently.
Yeah.
And, wanting to carry their cross with them, but then also just being able to hug them and being like, I want to help you as much as I can. I think those are my most favorite moments because that's where my heart is. Interviews and videos and all these fun things we get to do with Leia's Kids, I do love them. But the whole mission and my whole heart in Leia's Kids is the kiddos.
Okay.
Is the siblings, is the mom and dad. And so my proudest moments, I would say, is just getting to be a kid with another kid.
Yeah, that's just, and childlike love is what it says in the Bible, right?
Right, that, definitely. And I definitely would say that's definitely my life motto, is being that childlike love, meeting the kids where they're at.
Yeah.
And rather, if that's a kid going through grief, rather that's a kid being confused, or maybe that's a kid just wanting to give up on life.
Yeah.
And we've been there, and I've been able to have those conversations and kind of help steer them into a different direction, and that direction of love and joy for their life.
Leia, a lot of people have followed your journey since you were a child in this
Yes.
experience. You're now in college, right?
Yes.
What year in college are you?
So I am a junior right now.
You're a junior in
Yes.
college.
Oh yeah.
What degree are you working on? And for those that don't know, or
Yes, so I am actually working towards my bachelor's in early childhood education to, play a role in these kiddos' lives when they enter into the school system, and if they're affected by childhood cancer, but then also being able to work hands-on with kiddos even more in a deeper way.
Yeah, I have to say this, Leia, it's, this whole experience, your journey, just the evolution of who you've become through the process of having faith in God and you're having strong support network and having some tribulations along the way, right?
Hey, they say rejection is rocket fuel.
There you
so
go.
anytime anyone gets rejected, let me just tell you what, it is rocket fuel, and just keep going.
Awesome. Now, if someone wants to get a hold of you on social media, or where they want to follow you, where would they follow you at?
Yes, so we're active on all social media platforms, so you can visit us at Leias_Kids. And we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We have a YouTube channel with fun videos. We actually have a podcast also called Be the Link Podcast with Leah Hunt, and that's where I interview a whole bunch of different kiddos, families, adults who've gone through childhood cancer, but then also people who've gone through other trials and tribulations in life, and they share what was the one thing that helped them get through a hard time. And then, yes, you can visit our website, leiaskids.org, and that's spelled Leiaskids.
Leia, it's a pleasure to have you today. It's great to see you again.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. This is a great time.
Absolutely. Guys, that's all we got. The Rush Outrospective is, as I always say, have peace and enlighten you. Remember that the ocean refuses no river.